Hey guys, welcome back to Average Home Theater. I am Nelson. Dominic the man is joining me for this great episode of what we believe are some of the greatest fights in cinematic history, right? I mean, obviously you and I haven't seen every movie ever made.
I
But
thought I was supposed to do that before this video.
yeah, I know you got to watch every movie. But
I
so anyway, this is going to be our take on what we think are some of the best fights that we've ever seen in movies, right?
absolutely. And just to preface this, we had some back and forth discussions. We stayed away from like big sweeping battles, and if it was too much gun fu, right? Like if it was
Right.
just a shootout. As for me, you kind of alluded to this a minute ago, but kind of what we like the best,
Hmm.
um, the choreography, I guess, but also like the emotion of the fight. Like
That's
some
right.
fights may technically be the best, but if I don't care who's fighting, I'll just watch like a UFC fight or something. I'm not gonna. And I had to be personally invested. And we're not doing TV shows because had we done that, I probably would have included Daredevil or Punisher. But um, yeah, so that's kind of the way it went. And I tried to stay away from movies I've talked about a lot, but a couple of them came
Hmm.
up. But we'll see. We'll see how the list goes.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted it to be more of like these epic fights where,
Mm-hmm.
this guy versus this guy, you've been waiting for it the whole movie. And whenever they face off, you're like, woo, it's about to get real.
Yeah,
And that's kind
there
of
you go.
what I wanted this list to be. Um,
Good.
I stayed away from anything too crazy,
Mm-hmm.
anything, minimal weapons. Wanted it to be mostly like hand to hand, and not too much sci-fi or superhero. I wanted it to be almost kind of like you would really see it, like a fight that you might see on the
Okay.
street. That's kind of how I did my list. Now, they're not all that way,
Yeah.
but that's kind of what I want. I wanted to keep it a little more grounded, I guess, if that makes any
Okay.
sense.
No, that's good. I did include some superhero sci-fi stuff, but I tried to have a list that's real expansive where I have like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of
Hmm.
this.
Hmm.
So
All right. Well, you want to go ahead and give us your honorable. We try to keep it to a list of 5 because let's be honest, this list could have been 100.
it could have been.
So we kept it to a list of 5 with a few honorable mentions, and then maybe depending on how long we go towards the end, we'll just rattle off a few more that didn't quite make the list, but we really really like. If that's okay.
Cool. Yeah. So when you told me 5, I'm like, I whittled it down to 10. So I
Yeah,
basically have 5 honorable mentions.
it's pretty
And
difficult.
yeah. So for honorable mentions, first up, I have Spectre, which is a James Bond movie with Daniel Craig. It came out in 2015,
Okay.
and it's a train fight scene, and it's with Dave Bautista. Back when he was, big, he was kind of just getting on the scene, and they're doing hand to hand fighting in a train as it's going, and they're knocking each other into things. Bond almost gets knocked off the train.
Yeah.
Um, and again, this is just an honorable mention, so I'm kind of keeping it brief. But I wanted to, I included that. You want me to rattle off the rest of
Yeah,
them?
just rattle them off.
Okay. The Jet Li fight in Lethal Weapon 4.
It's a good fight.
Night Yeah, it's a good fight. 1998. It starts off. It's at the end of the movie. Everything's built to this point. You got Murtaugh and you got Riggs and Danny Glover's character, and they're trying not to get involved, but going back and forth. And he's saying, "Well, he took apart my gun, yada yada." And they go, "Let's go ask him." Because at first they're like, "You got a kid? I got come in. I'm a grandfather." All
Yeah, we're
that,
too old
but
for
they
this.
end
We
up
can get him
going.
later.
Yeah, we can get them later, but they can't resist. And this scene has everything. It has rain. It has Jet Li running up the wall when they're trying to stop him. Danny Glover goes through the glass. Um, Gibson gets his arm out of socket. You got chest hits, headbutts, blood, punching, choking, eye gouging. a bar through the stomach. Like the scene has everything.
It's great. Great scene.
It's a very good scene. And this was, when Jet Li was really first on the scene, because I remember watching this with my dad, and he was new. Like, we didn't really know who Jet Li was. And this was one of his first scenes, and it was good. It's a really good scene. And kind of reminiscent of Lethal Weapon 1 when they fight in the rain, but this one's a little more, robust. The next one, The Punisher from 2004, the Thomas Jane one.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I had to include. You already know what
when
it is.
When he fights the Russian.
That, I mean, do yourself a favor and just look it up on YouTube if you've never seen Punisher, or if it's been 20 years since you've seen it because we're old. That scene is so over the top and crazy, it's ridiculous.
Oh, Kevin Nash.
And Kevin Nash, yeah, he plays the Russian. Basically, John Travolta's character sends a Russian after Thomas Jane because he's interfering with his family. He won't stop. They're trying to kill him. And Nash punches through the door.
Knocks him through the wall.
Knocks him through the wall. Thomas Jane sticks a knife, like a butterfly knife or something, in him. Do anything. He pulls it out, sticks it in Thomas Jane. There's a grenade. He throws a grenade at him. Thomas Jane throws a grenade at Nash, but then he picks it up and throws it back at him. He gets in a bathtub to escape the explosion. I mean, it's just bananas. He gets a toilet thrown at him. He gets choked out. He gets his head locked in the fridge, and he's slamming his head in the door. He pulls a gun out, and Nash slams a weight onto the gun, and the end of it bends, so it's useless. And then it culminates when they barge into the next room to that family with Rebecca Romaine, where they're cooking pasta, listening to Italian music, and Nash gets hot pasta to the face, and his face starts bubbling up. And
I'm just saying, Dominic,
knocked over.
You're explaining this like it should be on your list. I'm not quite sure how this didn't make your list, man.
Honorable mentions. I'm just gonna roll. He gets knocked over the balcony, and then in the end, he's like, Thomas Jane says, "I'm fine." He's not, and then he falls over too. Great scene. Two more honorable mentions, so just bear with me.
Go ahead.
Roadhouse, 1989. Patrick Swayze. Swayze used a lot of like Aikido, Taekwondo type stuff in his fighting and in his dance background. And that scene by the lake, this guy, Jimmy Reno, is a henchman sent by the big bad in the movie. And they have this big fight at the lake, and they're knocking each other back and forth, a lot of hand to hand. And it ends with Patrick Swayze ripping the dude's throat out.
Yep.
So
that was a big deal, man, when that came out. And that's a great fight.
That is a good fight. So like I said, it's really a top 10, but my last one on the honorable mentions is GoldenEye. This is another James Bond movie, 1995. Might be my favorite Bond movie, or definitely up there. You have the villain his name's Alec, but it's played by Sean Bean. Kind of when Sean Bean was starting to become a household name, like right at the beginning of that. Him and James Bond, at the beginning of the movie, they're partners. At the end of the movie, they're each other because Alec went the way of the villain, and they're having this giant fight on top of this huge scaffolding, like on above a satellite. And they're fighting back and forth. It starts with shooting, but then it gets to where they don't have the guns anymore, and they're fighting each other back and forth. And James Bond falls down to like this little platform. So it's almost like a Luke on Bespin type of thing. And Alec goes down the ladder, Sean Bean, and knocks Bond kind of down with the ladder. It's basically like a ladder fight for a second. And then he lands, and they're choking each other out. And almost bites the bullet, and he's getting choked out by Alec, but Bond's able to get his foot out, kicks him, the dude falls off the platform, but he grabs his foot, and at the last minute, says Alex says for England, James, and he goes no for me, and he drops him, falls down, and then eventually the scaffolding falls on him too. So emotional fight because they were once partners and now they're enemies. But that whole and the music on these fights are very important, especially in GoldenEye, because you have that edgy background music going, and then like I said, he's getting choked out, grabs him. It's a cool fight.
Well, cool.
So those are my 5 honorable mentions.
All right. Well, I don't have 5. I think I have like 4, but 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. No, actually, I have 6 honorable mentions. The first one is True Lies. You have Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's played by Harry. He fights one of the big thugs in the bathroom. That bathroom fight scene.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's a good one.
He's a big guy. He's bigger than Arnold. And, not too many times you watch an Arnold movie where he's fighting somebody bigger than him. So
yeah,
that's a good one. I mean, they're ripping the hand dryers off the wall, hitting each other with that, knives. They go through the bathroom stall where the guy's on the toilet. I mean, there's just, and then it ends with him putting his head in the urinal. It's a good fight. So I like that one. And then another Arnold, and this one, that's why it's an honorable mention, but I put it in there because it's hand to hand, Dutch versus the Predator in the Predator.
Ooh.
Because the Predator has been using his weapons the whole time, and he realized, you know what, this guy's a worthy opponent. So let's take the mask off, take off the weapons, and let's do this, like we did in the old country. And they just beats the snot out of Arnold. But, so that's why it's an honorable mention. It's just a fun little fight scene. But that when they face off and he takes off his helmet and everything, you're like, holy smokes, it's about to get real.
No, that's a great one. And even, when using the elements of the forest, when that's before he takes the helmet up, but he's covering himself up with the mud, and then you're right, he gets stripped down to just man-to-man combat.
Baby. Let's get it. Okay, so then we move on to you've probably never seen Cyborg with Jean-Claude Van Damme, huh?
I'm vaguely familiar with it, but I don't know it back and forth. No.
It's one of those, it's a cult classic. If it had any type of budget, this movie would have been one of the best post-apocalyptic type movies made, and especially in the 80s. But it had a very low budget, but it still manages to be awesome in its own little way. And what's his name? Van Damme saved that movie. He did the editing and he made it halfway decent. But the final scene when Van Damme's name is Gibson and the main bad guy's name is Fender. So the director had a thing for guitars. So yeah, Gibson versus Fender at the end, and it's a very good scene, but typical it's in the middle of a rainstorm and they both are shirtless and making all these crazy noises and just beating the snot.
I'm looking it up
other.
Right now. I'm seeing what you're saying. I'm seeing all the rain and stuff.
So you need to watch Cyborg. I can't believe you haven't seen that movie, but go ahead and watch Cyborg, and it's only like an hour and a half. But as you're watching it, you can tell that, man, if they just had a little bit more budget, I mean, they could have done a lot with that movie. It's a cool story.
Cool.
Yeah. So I have that, and then I have Lethal Weapon 1, Riggs versus Mr. Joshua. It's not in the rain. It's a fire hydrant that's spewing water, but it's kind of like they're fighting in the rain. So
you're right.
Yeah, it's Gary Busey is Mr. Joshua. So it's a good little fight. And I just watched the movie the other day, like not even a week ago, because I got the 4K Steelbook in. And,
nice.
Which it looks really, really good, by the way. And, when Riggs looks at Mr. Joshua, he's like, well, how about it? You want a shot at the title? And he's like, don't mind if I do. And then they have a good little fight in the water. Good scene, good movie, good fight.
And that's
Um,
when he grabs him. He grabs him with his legs.
yes, yes, and he's about to kill him. They're like, break his neck, and he's like, he's not worth it. So,
Well, and I like how it ends with both of them shooting at him.
yeah, because he reaches for one of the officer's weapons, and they both shoot.
Right.
Yeah. So and then
So that's a good one.
my last two are not traditional. Freddy versus Jason in Freddy versus Jason. Excellent fight scene. There's two fight scenes. There's one in the dream world where, of course, Freddy wins because that's where Freddy lives. But then at the end, they get Freddy into the real world, and Jason beats the snot out of him in the real world. So Freddy versus Jason, non-traditional, but I had to mention it. And then last is Caesar versus Koba.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one, man. But yeah, it didn't make the list because they're not real people. So it didn't make the last five. But look, we all know, or I've mentioned it, that Caesar is one of my favorite characters in any movie ever. Masterfully portrayed by what's his name? Andy Serkis.
Yes.
Just great role for him. He set the standard on mocap, and
absolutely,
that fight scene is just epic. Up in the the skyscraper that was under construction, and of course it's in the rain. I mean, how many of these fights that we've mentioned are in the rain? I guess Hollywood just love it, just makes it all the better in the rain. So yeah,
it does.
Caesar versus Koba is my last honorable mention.
Nice. And if you haven't seen it, we have a whole dissertation on Planet of the Apes.
Exactly. Go check it out.
4 videos.
4 videos. Yeah. Is it 4?
I think we did a separate one for each one. I'm pretty sure we did. Yes.
Even for the new, we did the new one? I can't even remember.
We did the new one too.
Kingdom? Okay.
All right. Because you put What a Wonderful Day on the top.
Yes. And I talked about it because I met him a week after I watched it. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. Man, we put out so much content on this channel that I forget what we've even done.
There you go. So if you're bored, just start scrolling through.
Yes. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. Do it. Okay, man. Let's give us your, and now we'll go back and forth. So give me your number 5.
Gotcha. Okay. My number 5 is Hector versus Achilles and Troy. So great. So you have Eric Bana playing Hector. You have Brad Pitt playing Achilles. I still can't believe this movie's over 20 years old. So that Achilles, the whole movie, I mean, like his fighting style, I like at the beginning when he sticks his sword in that big giant's body. Yep. That could have been a contender, but it was too short of a fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one stab. It's over. Boom.
One stab, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Hector accidentally, he thinks he kills Achilles in a previous battle, but he actually kills his cousin. So they have this, man-to-man fight, and the door's open. Achilles is standing there, and Hector's like, I've seen this in my dreams. And Hector's trying to reason with him, like, hey, whoever loses, let's do the funeral rituals and all that. And Brad Pitt as Achilles just like, there are no pacts between lions and men, and he's just very like man of few words, very powerful. They take off their helmet. And, he makes fun of him at the beginning. He's like, Hector, the fool who thought he killed Achilles, and he's toying with him. And then, dude, the way they're moving, they're faking each other out with the spears. They're both quick, like side to side. The spears are going. The way Achilles holds the spear over the shield, very iconic. Like you could take still shots of all these little moments in the fight. They're faking each other out with the spears, and then Hector breaks his spear, and then they have to resort to daggers. I guess it's a dagger because they're shorter. They're not like a big sword. and Achilles does that jump thing like he does at the beginning of the movie, and hits Hector in the chest, and then they're swinging and dodging each other, and then so yeah, but that makes Achilles mad when Hector hits him in the chest, and then they're swinging and dodging each other, and then basically it ends with the broken spear held by Achilles stabbed into Hector. So Achilles, wins the fight, but Hector put up a good fight
He put
for
up a
not
good fight
being
for a little while, but he
for a
starts
little
getting
while.
he
Yeah,
starts getting tired, and
yeah,
it's a clear display of how much better of a warrior Achilles was than Hector. But Hector was no
hmm
slouch, I mean,
No, he was a great fighter,
yeah.
but I mean, he's fighting like a god, lowercase g. Like Brad Pitt, like and I wasn't even a huge Brad Pitt fan. I like him, but he was in incredible shape, and the way he looked and the way he moved in the movie, it was incredible.
Hmm.
Um, uh, so yeah, that I mean, this had to be on the list. This is a great one.
It's a great pick. Great
Thanks.
pick. My number 5 is Maximus versus Commodus. And I know he has other fights that are
Hmm.
considered some, because I looked at lists and stuff, and the one with the tiger and all of that. Yeah, that's all cool and stuff, but this was the fight
Hmm.
because one, he did it injured after Commodus tried to cheat and stabbed him,
Yeah.
but two, it was the what was at stake. And I don't know if I wanted someone to die more in a movie than
Oh
Joaquin
my
Phoenix in this movie.
gosh,
I mean, he was such a terrible person. He
he
just,
was.
I couldn't wait to see him go. And it's not a very long fight because,
Right.
Maximus is the man and he makes quick work of it. But yeah, I it's just, to me, it's one of the greatest fights, not only because of what happens, but who it happens to. And it
Yes.
just, there's very few bad guys that's more deserving of death than
Oh,
Commodus.
I know. I mean, uh, Maximus should have been celebrated, and he turned him into a slave.
Right.
And
Just out of
and that
jealousy, you know?
out of jealousy, I mean, the dude is man, like you said, you love to hate him. He's a horrible villain. I mean, he undid everything his father did in Rome and really gave Rome a bad name. And that fight, Maximus is bleeding out the whole time they're fighting. And I mean, it's a great fight. Like you said, what's at stake? They're fighting for Rome. Is
Mhm.
Rome going to be a dictatorship or is Rome going to be a democracy?
Right.
That's what the fight is over. Um,
And then
if
when
Maximus loses,
he just slowly pushes the knife into his throat. So
yeah,
Commodus is fully aware of what's going on. And yeah, it's very good. Very good fight
it,
and a very good death.
yeah, it is very good. Like I said, Gladiator is one of my favorite movies. I could have included it, but I was trying to, you know,
Mhm.
um, move around a little bit. But I'm glad you included it. Great, great pick. Okay, so moving on to my fourth.
Mhm.
Okay, The Mask of Zorro, 1998. Um, and this is at a time where special effects and movies and stuff are kind of just getting to that peak. And what I love about this infight in this movie, and obviously this is the first Antonio Banderas movie, um, is you have two fights happening at the same time, but it's just of two guys and two guys. I love that. That's why I've always liked Star Wars because you got multiple things happening at once. But you have De La Vega and Don Rafael fighting, which is the original Zorro and the man that was taking over California, while the new Zorro, which is Antonio Banderas, fights Captain Harrison Love. And the main fight is between Banderas and Captain Harrison Love. It's a really good fight. They're fighting on burning scaffolding, for one. The music is really good. You got prisoners underneath them. And again, it's just these two guys fighting back and forth. And Zorro, he finally gets the upper hand and he cuts an M in his face for his brother, which died earlier in the movie because of the events he was, the captain was putting before him. And he has a really cold line. He tells Antonio Banderas, "You're doing well. Your brother would have killed himself by now." So, like, gosh, like horrible, right? And what's really cool in this fight is that he hits Captain hits a loose board, and Zorro jumps up and loses his sword. So you're like, God, Zorro without a sword, what is he going to do? And Zorro, there's kicking back and forth, and then Zorro kicks him back and ducks, and able to do is grab the guy's sword over the wood and stab him in the chest. Mm-hmm. So he kills the captain with his own sword, which is pretty cool, in the stomach. And then he removes his mask, to get his final, comeuppance over him, and he's won, right? But then De La Vega's fight ends right after that, and the wagon that he sends, what's his name? The wagon that he sends Don Raphael through on the captain. So all those gold bricks and stuff fall on top of him. Kind of like the GoldenEye one I mentioned. Like the guy falls and then all this stuff falls on top of him. But that is a really good scene. And while they're sword fighting, I mean, it's Antonio Banderas in a lot of it. Like there's close-ups of both of them fighting. There's earlier fights that are good too. But that final comeuppance with the captain that was responsible for forcing his brother to kill himself.
Yeah, that dude was crazy. Remember, fight. He was keeping their heads in jars and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude was nuts.
That's true. Yeah, that dude was nuts. And
that's a good really movie. Good fight. I love it. I'm pretty sure producer Nick still has not watched that, or if he's seen it, he just recently watched it.
I mean, like I said, we've seen so many sword fighting movies now, but if you put yourself in 1998, I mean, that was awesome. It still holds up.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched it not that long ago.
But what I'm saying, in 1998, you tell me all the sword fighting movies that were awesome like this, and it's a short list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a big time because there hadn't been a Zorro movie in years prior to that. So yeah, that movie was a big deal.
Yeah, and like I said, the fact that he kills him with his own sword is pretty cool.
Okay. So yeah, thanks for taking my thunder. Number 4 is Troy.
Oh, so the same fight?
Oh yeah, Achilles and Hector. What I loved about it before they started fighting was Achilles outside yelling his name over and over. He just keeps saying, Hector, Hector. Yeah. And Hector knew he had to go, but you could tell deep down he didn't want to. He knew there was no way he was coming out of that. So yeah, that's so good. Now, the last time I tried to watch that movie, I don't remember liking the movie as a whole as much as I did when it first came out. Mm-hmm. But that fight, I watched it again for this because, it stuck out. When we decided to do this, I was like, in all honesty, that's the first one that came to mind was this fight. Awesome. So I watched it again. I'm like, man, that's so good. Such a good fight.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I was kind of in the same boat. It popped in my head too, but I was like, is it an honorable mention or is it in the top 5? And after rewatching it, I'm like, man, I want to rewatch.
I was moving stuff around in here, but we can only do so much.
No, I know. Like, revisiting all these fight scenes makes me want to revisit a bunch of these movies as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, give us your, what is it? Number 3?
My number 3. Okay. I've had you so far. I have to be true to myself.
If you say anything from episode 1, 2, or 3, I'm turning this off.
I'm doing this for the fans. I gotta be true to myself.
I'm doing it for the fans.
I'm doing it for yeah, those out there. Okay, fight I'm about to explain. Um, while they were filming it, they were breaking and bending swords. That's how fast they were going. They had to slow the film down, see what they were doing. That's how fast and in the mode they were. Okay. One of these guys is a martial arts expert, and that's why they brought him on. The other one is an actor, but he was trained by Nick Gillard and with Ray Park to a certain extent. You already know where I'm going.
I know. Once you said, yeah, I mean, I figured it out.
I was trying to build it up, but that very end fight between Ewan McGregor, who plays Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Ray Park, who plays Darth Maul, is a really awesome fight. Like, I didn't even have to really revisit it. I just know it. So, you know, there's a fight with three of them, right? Liam Neeson and Ian McGregor are fighting Ray Park. Um, After Liam Neeson gets taken out, that's where the fight really goes insane because Master just dies. He can't go through the red beams. When they clear, he runs. And then when Maul turns his sword, I mean, he pops it up, pops it down, and it's so fast. They're like, and then they spin out, and then they go back in, breaks his sword off. So then Maul only has one, and they're hitting, and then Ewan McGregor, you know, for a minute loses it, falls down. You know, there's some cutaways, and then when they get back, summon the Force, flip over Maul, slice him in half. Like some fight scene isolated from anything else. Included, it's a very good fight. Nonetheless,
Yeah.
it's a very good fight. I mean, yeah, I mean, just that end part. It stuck with me for years. The John Williams music, awesome, and fighting for the fate of that child. You know, so you know, Obi-Wan loses the fight, probably gets taken faster. You know, um, even though Qui-Gon should have won the fight, but anyway, yeah, good fight.
Okay, moving on. No, it's a pretty good fight. I mean, I don't have anything against it. I just think the movies are crap.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But
Well, I mean, you know, we're here to discuss the fight scenes, and
correct.
fight was great.
So speaking of kind of a crap movie, but an awesome movie, Commando 1985, Matrix versus Bennett.
I thought you might include this movie. I was like,
man.
I know he's going to include it. I know it.
I mean, growing up watching it, every time you get to the end, like we used to try to recreate that fight. Even saying bullshit, you know, and then start. We would say that as kids, and Bennett getting electrified, and for some reason, after he gets electrocuted, he starts kicking Arnold's butt, and it's like, what did that give him? Like some energy or something? Like it's just wild, you know. It's a crazy.
It's like
fight
a video
scene.
game.
Yeah, but you've been looking forward to it the whole movie. You know, Matrix versus Bennett. He shot Matrix in the arm, and Matrix convinces him to do a knife fight. He's like, "You don't need no chicken shit gun when you could put the knife in me. You can see what's going on in there when you turn it." It's so cheesy, and it's awesome, and it's actually a good fight. Once they start, you know, smacking the crap out of each other, it's a good one. Pulling the metal door off and hitting him with the metal door, hitting Arnold with the metal pipe. And then, of course, he throws a pipe straight through Bennett's stomach, and it's like blowing off steam. Why don't you let off some steam, Bennett?
That's the part I remember the most.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. So there is no way I could not include that fight on this list. So that's my number 3.
Fight.
Yep.
Adam too.
What's that?
The villain.
Yeah. I met him, and the picture he autographed for me is their fight scene. Yeah,
Pretty
and
cool.
he wrote the quote, "I'm not going to shoot you between the eyes. I'm going to shoot you between the balls." Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh
He's a nice
man.
guy. I've met him twice. Vernon Wells. I met him twice, and he's like the nicest guy, man. He's awesome.
It's cool. Very good. Like I said, I'm glad you picked that. I had a feeling you were going to, so great one. My next one is from the year 2000, from the movie The Patriot,
Oh yeah.
uh, with Mel Gibson. You probably know where I'm going. Aim small, miss small.
And
Uh,
there's a hatchet involved or a tomahawk, whatever.
yeah. Um, but again, like just like Troy, Brad Pitt and Troy, when Mel Gibson's running through the woods with the rifle, like so iconic, like those shots of him running through. And just to set this up a little bit, I mean, the dude's whole family's been taken away from him. You know, he was living a peaceful life. This obviously takes place during the Revolutionary War. You know, when the British were against the early Americans, and you know his plantation set on fire. Um, some of his family's getting killed, and I mean, so he has nothing to lose at this point, and he's going after the specific troops that did this to him. And you know, he says his little prayer, "Lord, make me fast and accurate." And then it starts with guns, but I included it because guns, you know, after a while, you know, he's not using the rifle, his kid is. But like you said, he's using that axe, and he's swinging it around. He's able to get to the wagon and the troops, and he just starts throwing and or starts. He's holding it at first, just swinging it, hitting. I mean, not hitting these guys right and left, and uh, I mean, it's a bloody mess, but you're on his side because of what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's knocking down all these British soldiers, and then it gets to the point to where his son is being held with a knife to the throat. His son being played by Heath Ledger,
Mm-hmm.
and he throws the axe, hits the dude right in the forehead.
And I
Perfect hit.
remember, like at the end, he's just hacking away at
That's
somebody.
yes, that's what
Yeah.
I want to get to. So after that, he pulls it out, throws it to the one that was running off in the back, and then just starts all that emotion. I mean, I was counting it. It's over 10 seconds of him just hitting it. And I mean, just and when he's killing that guy, it's
He's a different person.
everything.
He's a
He took
different
my whole
person.
life away.
Mm-hmm.
He got into soldier mode. Like his whole life is gone, and all he has left is to end the evil that's come upon his land. And he's just hitting him so much. And by the end of the scene, you could barely see his eyes. He's
And
just
that's
caked in
where
blood.
that moment is where his son realizes like who his dad was at one
Right.
time. Like, holy crap, you know?
Yeah, he turned that on, and because at first he didn't want his son to get involved in the war, you know, so he kind of thought his dad was maybe scared or like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, not man enough.
Oh,
But
he knows
then it was
now.
the opposite. He was more than the man. That's why he was trying not to get involved. Um, that scene has stuck with me. Like, um, so that's the second time Mel Gibson's been on my list, counting the honorable mentions. But this one popped in my head. I had to include it.
Yeah, no, that's a great one. I
Yeah,
haven't seen that movie in quite some time, but I do remember a lot of that scene, you know,
yeah.
specifically because it was when you're watching it for the first time, you're like, whoa.
Hmm.
So yes, that's a very good fight scene. Um, so next for me, that was your number 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So once again, you stole my thunder on most of my list, by the way. Um, Dalton versus Jimmy in Roadhouse. Roadhouse is
Okay.
I watched it so many times as a kid. I don't know how it didn't make it on my movies that made us. I guess it's because we didn't own a copy, so that's why I didn't
Yeah.
include it. But watched it several times. But the build up to that fight, because you know you keep seeing Jimmy, and Jimmy is just kicking butt, and he and Dalton never really get to fight each other until they do, and
Uh huh.
it's outside, and it's just I don't know. You explained it.
Yeah.
It's just an iconic fight. It's one of those, and it's kind of what the reason why I wanted to do this list, or the way that I chose it, was it's the big buildup to the two big bad boys are gonna, get at it. And yeah, and they did a good job, because instead of it being the climax, it's, it kind of happens about 3/4 of the way through the movie.
Right. Yeah, because he still goes to the house after all.
Yeah, that's and they kill all those people. But yeah, Roadhouse, Dalton versus Jimmy. I think anybody who has seen it will say absolutely that is one of the greatest fights on film. And then of course the ripping the throat, the larynx out or whatever. Yes, it's very far-fetched and whatnot, but everybody talks about that scene or that moment in the fight,
Absolutely. And, to anybody, I guess, born after the year 2000, go back and watch that movie, because sometimes Patrick Swayze has that Dirty Dancing. It's the love story guy. No, to watch Roadhouse.
Yeah, watch Roadhouse.
And then come back.
He pulls it off, that's for sure. He definitely pulls it off. Yep. It's a good movie. It's kind of like Brad Pitt. I mean, before I saw the movie Snatch, I didn't want to watch anything with Brad Pitt. He was just, he's just a pretty boy. I don't care about Brad Pitt. Then I watched Snatch, and then not long after Snatch, I watched Troy, and then had a whole different opinion of his acting abilities. And it's basically the same thing with Patrick Swayze. Yeah, he has this, I don't know what you want to say, but reputation of the pretty boy. But I mean, he's done a lot of stuff that is complete opposite of that. You got Point Break, this, Red Dawn. I mean, he's done a lot of big time action type movies, and
absolutely
Roadhouse is probably his best movie. I mean,
that's a great one. Yeah. No doubt. Very good. McConaughey kind of had that too, like where, you think he's just in the girly movies, but he's in a lot of really good ones too.
Yeah, but McConaughey can't pull off the action like that.
No, not fight wise. No, not fighting like this, but yeah. Okay, so down to the last one.
Yep. Number one, baby. Right. What do you think is one of the best that you've ever seen?
Okay, so for this one, I am going more sci-fi, okay? Can you see my shirt?
Oh, here we go. Batman v Superman?
No, not that one. The Man of Steel fight. The last... Yeah,
oh, you mean the 35-minute fight at the end of Man of Steel?
Okay,
Get up and go make yourself some popcorn and come back, and the fight's still going on?
Right, I had to include that one because... I loved the Christopher Reeves movies, and the Brandon Routh movie was okay, right? But we had never seen Superman get in a major fight. Christopher Reeves kind of knocked a guy down a little bit, but never saw like a real fight. I wanted to see Superman punching somebody, punching somebody. Snyder gave me that. I know it starts off as a big battle, but I'm talking about at the very, very end when it's just between him and Zod. Zod is the military leader. Superman, you know who Superman is. The music is great. Hans Zimmer score. Superman, when it gets down to the end, Zod's lost. His army's defeated. And now it's just these two guys hatching it out. So kind of like some of these other movies on our list, it builds to just these two guys left. Zod, like I said, Zod knows it's over. He's already lost. All he has left is fighting the man responsible for ending world domination. And he hits Superman with an uppercut, and Superman gets so hard that he flies up, messing up a building, like flying all the way up. And then he stops in midair and, goes back down to hit Zod. But Zod has this mech suit on, and he's just grabbing the building, going up to him like a creature. And then they end up on this this work scaffolding, and it's funny because it says 106 days no incident, and then Superman gets thrown into it, and now it says 0 days. And then Zod has that good line that says, I was bred to be a warrior, Cal, trained by my entire life to master my senses. Where'd you train? On a farm? And then he throws that truck at him, and they start going back and forth. He takes the mech suit off, and then they just start fighting just man to man with like no armor on. And Superman does that thing that I waited my whole life to see, where he punches Zod, flies towards him, punches him, like, you know, in a post Matrix era where we could actually see Superman fighting in the air, like almost like 4-dimensional, right? Because you're not like just on the ground. And Superman gets thrown through a building, like in one side, out the other. They end up in space where they're fighting on top of a Wayne Enterprises satellite, and then they fall back to Earth like meteors. And this is the part where that's really cool is Zod's, you know, they fall into this building and there's people there, and Zod's using his heat vision to wipe out a family, and his beam's getting closer and closer to that family. And Zod says, if you love these people so much, then you can mourn them. And Superman says, don't do this. Stop. And then Zod says, never. So then he snaps his neck. And that's the scene that everyone's like, oh my gosh, Superman killed somebody. But I'm like, dude, he told him 3 times and he wasn't going to stop, you know? So more people would have died had he not snapped Zod's neck. Yeah, it was horrible. You had to do it. It's not like it was just some guy on the street robbing somebody. This was a general that was about to wipe out humanity. So, and then Superman screams. Like, he's not happy that he had to kill him, but in that split-second moment, you got to make a choice. You're going to kill him or not. And he decided to do it. And I know it's a sci-fi, but there's human emotion, especially at that very end, when he has to decide, is it worse to take his life, or is it worse to let him kill more people, like where I can do something, you know? You could argue earlier, yeah, there's people dying when they're fighting, but now he really can focus on it, you know, whereas if you're getting your butt kicked, you're not thinking about everybody around you. But yeah, I had to include it.
Yeah, I mean, you're a Superman guy. I mean, that's your jam.
That's what I'm saying. I had to be honest.
Yeah. Well, my number one, man, I went back and forth and so many good ones. Riggs Murtaugh, and this is not my number one, but Riggs Murtaugh and his name is actually Wasing Ku or whatever. That, which is from Lethal Weapon 4. That was one that I wanted to keep in. And what's the other one though? I couldn't think of the other one. Oh, that gummit now I've done forgot. But anyway, so I had all these different movies, and then you mentioned it in your honorable mention. I was like, oh yeah, that's so good. But I had to keep it non-traditional because anytime I watch this movie, it's by far the best part. I can't wait for it. Like, I watch 2 hours basically just to see this part. And it's because it's so unique, and I don't think it had ever been done before, and I don't think anybody's ever been able to replicate it. But
I'm excited.
It's Ripley versus the Queen in the loader suit. It's something about that, like the creativity of James Cameron to say, how could I get Ripley to fight this giant alien queen? So he obviously just came up with this loader robot type thing. He's like, she's going to use this to fight the alien queen. And that's pretty cool. It's just so iconic. And like I said, I mean, have you seen anything like that since? I mean, I've never seen anything like that. And I don't know. It just had to be my number one because it's the best part of that movie, and it's so creative. And, you know, the get away from her, you bitch, you know, all that stuff.
Well, and it's like you said, it's built to that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, she's seen so many people wiped out, and, you know, it's finally coming
and
to.
It's mama versus mama type thing. You know, it's just, I don't know, such a good fight. Even though I wanted to try to keep it to grounded to earth and be regular people, I could not help myself as I'm looking at all this. That's just one of my favorite fights of all time is Ripley versus the Queen, you know. But man, that Lethal Weapon one, I had thought about it, but I didn't even put it on the list. And when you brought it up, I think it might be better than Riggs versus Mr. Joshua. Because they're old, you know, like they're getting up there in age.
Yeah.
So you got Riggs and Murtaugh, and you've seen the previous 3 movies where, you know, Mel Gibson is the Lethal Weapon, right? That's why it's called Lethal Weapon, because he's an ex-Special Forces soldier, and he was always the guy. Well, now he's getting old, and for him to get his butt kicked by this 5'7", 130-pound Jet Li, you know, it's just so funny. So yeah, that was one that it was very much considered, and I didn't even put on the list, but I probably should have put it on the list above the Mr. Joshua one. But
well, no, I mean, it ended up on the list in some way, like kind of, you know, some of the ones you put, I'm like, oh, I could have put that too. But yeah, I think you're right. I think technically that Lethal Weapon 4 fight is better, but as a movie, Lethal Weapon 1 is the best one, I believe.
Well, it's the most serious. They kind of become buddy comedies after that. But the first one is definitely
he's not
the
suicidal
most
anymore.
Yeah.
But in that first movie, he is unhinged, you know? So I think that's what it is the first movie's better, but that scene is awesome, that fight scene.
So another one that I wanted to put on here was Danny versus what's his name in Karate Kid Part 2. I love that one.
Okay.
Because that fight scene, you know, because Karate Kid Part 2 is probably the most dark of the original trilogy. It was a fight to the death is what it was supposed to be. So seeing Daniel in a fight where that other guy would have killed him if he'd have won.
Right, and he's not going to hold,
Right, so that one I thought about putting on here.
That's a good one.
Oh, man, I can't. My memory is so bad. What's another one I wanted to put? Oh, they had the Blade Runner fight scene where he fights what's his name at the end? Yeah, Rutger Hauer. But man, I like the in 2049, the opening scene of the movie where he fights Dave Bautista. That's a really good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
The build up, you know, it's because like it's been a while since I've watched it, but him like rummaging around in that, like in the kitchen. Yeah, it's kind of a slow. Yeah, that's
because he was kind of cooking something or whatever. But you know, because you don't realize when the movie opens that they're both robots, you know, and so when they start fighting and you see them going through the wall, and then you see Ryan Gosling beat him, you're like, how the hell would he beat him? But then, you know, they're not human, so
right.
But yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one though. Yeah. I pretty much included what I wanted to, but crossed my mind were like there's some good fights in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Like that was a big one when it came out. We've talked about Rocky a lot, so I kind of, you know.
Yeah, the only one that I would have included, and I thought about that, would have been Rocky V when he fights Tommy, because that's a street fight. You know, I didn't want to do any type of sanction fight type stuff, because, you know, that's a sanctioned fight. I mean, but when he fights Tommy in the street, that's a street fight. And so,
that's more of a build.
Yeah, and it's a good one, you know. Hey, you knocked him down. Won't you try knocking me down? You know. I mean,
you love that, yeah.
so yeah, it's good, but it doesn't quite resonate because the movie's so bad. It just, you know, I
don't like the fifth one, but that fight is, you know, it's a good fight.
Oh, that's the one I want. I just remembered it. Dune.
Okay.
When he fights the guy in part 2 that plays Elvis. What's that?
Oh, I know who you're talking
about. You know what I'm talking about? That's one that I wanted to include, but I've only seen the movie once. Austin Butler, but his name is Fade Rotha. And that was a good fight scene. So I thought about that one.
Like, if you don't know it's him, you could easily miss that. You know, with all the makeup on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So yeah, we could go on and on and on. I mean, there's so many, and I didn't even get close to. A friend of mine mentioned some Jackie Chan movies, and no, I mean a lot of that stuff because there's kind of a comedic element to some of it. Right. It just doesn't quite resonate with me. I wanted something that felt like the stakes were high, you know?
That's how I felt too. And also like the emotion of it. Like, like the fights in like the GoldenEye fight, the Troy fight, the Zorro fight, the Patriot fight, like the Man of Steel fight, like all those, like, I can't, like, that's what I meant. Like, technically, there's probably some foreign movies that are better with the fighting, but invested. I can't just say, oh, the Raid 2 because it's a good fight, but like I don't really, it's not like on my shelf. You know what I mean?
Like John Wick, every fight, you know? I mean,
yeah, I thought about John Wick for a little bit.
But like, which one would you pick? I mean, there's so many epic fight scenes. I mean, there's like 75 fight scenes in 4 movies. So what do you even? I
probably had an embolism if I was trying to describe those fights.
You know, I like the fights in the Mortal Kombat remake. I thought those were good with Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Especially the Scorpion opening scene when he's not Scorpion yet and they kill his family and stuff, and he goes and he just destroys those guys, you know. But yeah, they just weren't quite, you know, I had to pick the stuff that just impacted me, and yeah, you know, it was just a big deal.
Well, one other one I thought of, and I didn't want to include it because I didn't want to have too many superhero ones, but the fight in Dark Knight Rises between Bane and Batman where he breaks his back. That's a good fight.
That and the final one. I considered both of those.
Yeah. I think the first fight is better though, because it's more it's more grounded, I guess you could say. You know, and you know, it's just them, there's not a lot of music. So that one could have been a contender. But yeah, I pretty much included what I wanted.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, that was, hey, that, I think that's the most similarities we've had cross listing.
The most what similarities? Yeah, we had a lot of crossover on that one.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool though. I mean, we both
I could have done a lot of Jean-Claude Van Damme stuff, but you know, I didn't want to do too many multiples, and that's why I didn't put the Lethal Weapon 4, because I didn't want to mention Lethal Weapon twice. That's what it was.
I hear you.
But yeah, I mean, Van Damme, I mean, he has a bunch of epic fights towards the end where it's like the big showdown between him and the main bad guy. But you know, it's all kind of the same type stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, on paper, he probably is a better fighter than most of the ones we've said, but
the Universal Soldier has a good showdown with Dolph Lundgren at the end.
Yeah, Universal Soldier is a good one. Yeah.
But anyway,
cool.
I think we have a good list, and we're right around an hour. I think we didn't go on too long.
Yeah, we did pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm proud of us.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Hopefully, this presentation will look a little bit better.
Yeah. Let us know what you think.
Things. Yeah. Well, anyway, is that it? Is that all you got?
I think that's it, man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll think of something. Time. Yeah, we'll think of something fun for the next go round. You get it? Round fights.
There you go.
Yeah. You want the dad jokes? We got them. All right, guys. Well, like, subscribe, tell your friends, and we will catch you on the next one.
Keep your dukes up.